Pierce, you finally made it home. You wake up. Do you think Pierce would have woken up like in the crow's nest or at some point in the night gone back down?
I feel like I mean, had we come in pretty early, and it was already relatively late when I even got up there in the first place, I feel like I would have just, if I had fallen asleep up there, I would have slept all the way through the morning.
The thing that wakes you up is like early, early morning. At this point, the storm is done, and the person that's in charge of like being in the crow's nest, what the hell? And that's kind of like what startles you awake. And he like kind of like he like pokes you a little bit. Oh,
Uh,
are
good,
you alive?
uh, yeah.
Oh, gee, okay. Whew.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. Oh gods. That was frightening. Who are you?
Um, Pierce. I fell asleep up here last night.
As like he's like during the storm.
Yeah.
Okay. You're weird, man. Okay. Well, I can't have you up here. This isn't for civilians. So you need to get are you good to get down? Are you
Oh,
drunk?
yeah, yeah. No, I'll be fine.
O- Okay. As you guys are kind of like in this like small crow's nest together, and he kind of like shimmies to the side, but you're able to make your way down. And a lot easier this time as there's not wind and rain pounding
Dark.
against you. And it's not dark, yeah. And it's dark in the sense of like it's that like early dawn light, but you were able to go, and then you can head back to your like the room that you had kind of like lodged for this trip. Do you think Pierce would have a lot of stuff with him?
Definitely not a lot of stuff. We'll ask, am I still wet?
No. No, at this
No.
point the
Okay.
cloak helped with keeping the rain off of you, and so after hours and hours of you being there, you were able to stay dry.
Cool. Yeah, I think very, as I said before, very much a minimalist. So I don't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say you probably have like just like a almost like one of those like backpacking backpacks, like those like ospreys or something, like just like a larger one, but it has like everything like in your life basically. But you're able to go to your room and then gather that, and then you also have. Do you think Pierce would have had on the chain with the ring on it or no? Or like would he have had it on in the crow's nest or left it in the room?
No, I think I would have had it on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Cool. You go gather your bag and you make your way off the ship along with like everybody else. And you see at this point two different like deckhands have started to like help out a little bit. And then as you pull into this port that you haven't been to in a few years, and there are ships of all varying sizes. And then as you look, go ahead and roll me a history check.
Hey. 30-20.
Dirty 20. Lovely. As you go and you look, you end up seeing literally like ships from all over Sullivan, places that you have been to, and some other places that maybe you haven't, but you see flags from like Melibur, Stacaria, and then obviously like ships from Numir and things like that. But it's ships from like all over as you're entering like the 4 days before the coronation is meant to happen. And so you're not surprised to see like
Yeah.
a lot of these different ships as you are making your way down the gangplank. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Oh, nice. I got a 3.
A three. As you are walking down, you have your bag with you. It's like this early morning light. You hear like in the back, probably like further down the dock, you start to hear, "Get him! It's the Tabaxi!" And but then that's all you kind of hear as you, and it's kind of just like one of the many like voices that you kind of hear in the background, but you don't see anything.
Of all times to have a bad roll.
I was hoping. I was hoping. But you make your way to like through the town, and from where you are, it takes maybe like 15 or 20 minutes to get to back to the castle. But you end up making your way there, and at this point, you see that there's like a line that has formed outside of the gates themselves, as there's just people kind of from all over that are making their way in, and so there's kind of like a checkpoint allowing people like in or out. And then typically, I mean, there's always the checkpoint, but typically it's not as long of a wait as this one is. But it's also a little the season's a little different, right? There's an occasion that's happening. And you wait in line for about like 15 minutes or so as you start to like make your way. And at this point, do you think or would Pierce have told his mom that he was going to be here?
Pierce would have, and not only also would have mentioned that he chose to boat instead of teleport, just out of like, oh, by the way.
As you are in line, you start to hear the most monotone voice of a guard that you haven't heard in years, but is somehow like etched in your memory. As you hear, "What's your business?
Morning, Garrett. Just returning home.
What's your business?"
Just returning home.
Pauses. And then so you flash like the ring, kind of showing your position in the military. And then he looks at it and then kind of like holds it. "How long are you in town for?"
Unknown at this point.
"I haven't seen you since the funeral."
Yeah, definitely more of a homecoming than my previous visit back.
"Welcome back." Lets you in.
Thank you.
And doesn't say much beyond that. And then to the next person, "You can't bring dogs here. You just can't bring the dogs here." And then you kind of like walk past and you start making your way past some of these corridors. And then you go to it's almost like a townhouse, basically, as far as like the setup for a lot of these. But you go to like the second tier as far as where the cat or how the castle is built up. You make your way through these corridors, seeing some familiar faces, a lot of new faces, and no role necessary, like just like an added amount of like soldiers walking around kind of patrolling the area. But you, after a few minutes, make your way to you get to your mother's door.
I feel like I've been gone long enough, and being that I used boat to get back, my mom probably doesn't necessarily know what day to expect me. So I think it just knock. Also hoping that she locked the door.
Yeah, you knock and then you kind of like put your ear closer to the door and you just hear like singing like happening, just like very very like nonchalant, like nonsensical, but no response to like the knocking.
Ah, I'll knock louder, but this time like after knocking loud and like after like slowly reaching for the doorknob to like open it.
You go and it's unlocked.
Perfect. Of course it is.
You go in, but as you walk in, you walk into like this living room area. Genuinely, nothing has really changed from the last time you were here. And honestly, nothing has really changed from even when you were a kid. And you start to hear towards like the left side where the kitchen is, you hear some of this singing happening.
Ah. Knowing that she doesn't know I'm there yet, I think not necessarily that I'm like trying to yell at her to get her attention, but I'm definitely not trying to be quiet. Not walking quietly, I like toss my bag against the wall to like be out of the way, but it hits the ground and like slowly making my way towards my mom.
So with a 6 perception check that I just rolled for your mother,
Mom's on the team.
fully
She's part of the
still
squad.
singing as you enter like the doorway that leads into the kitchen, and you see that she has like pots already like cooking and like a small fire going as she's preparing some kind of like, it smells like a stew of some kind.
Hmm.
But her back is to you.
At this point, I think I just, Mom.
Roll a dexterity saving throw for me.
How dare you yell at your mother like that?
Right.
A dirty 20.
Dirty 20. As you go, your military instincts like kick in as this loaf of bread, your mom's like reaction, like "Huh," yells, and just like this loaf of bread like goes, and you like matrix dodge out of the way a little bit as it just hits like the wall behind you, just missing your head. Pierce. And then your mother goes, and she's dressed like in like this blue clothing, like blue shirt, long like dark blue skirt, and she has like an apron on just from like cooking all day. You can see like splotches of like food of some kind, like kind of like throughout it, some of it like stained already, some of it like fresher. When did you, oh my goodness, is she like undoes the apron and puts it on a hook? "When did you get here?" And then goes and gives you a hug.
Just came into the port. Came here first.
"Oh, you were serious about the ship? Oh, okay, that we sent for you so long ago. Okay. Oh, it's so good seeing you. Oh, my boy." And she like kind of like squeezes. How was the ride back? Are you hungry? Do you sit down? Sit down. And what can I get for you?
Any of your cooking, Ma, is
You see, she goes
perfect
and
for me.
she like looks down. She's like, "Why did you let my bread fall to the ground?"
Mom, I have military instincts. I dodged it, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna catch it.
I'm not as mad in this moment as I am disappointed. As she goes, but then she goes and she like picks it up, the loaf, and kind of like puts it off to the side. But then she gathers like a bowl and like pours some kind of like a beef stew. And then you can kind of like smell like the spices as she goes, and kind of like the fire of like the kitchen warming up this small townhouse. But she sits down and gets like a bowl like in front of you and puts a spoon in there and just says, "Tell me, I mean, what about everything? I want to catch you up on everything. What do I need to know?"
Traveling was pretty smooth. We hit a little bit of a storm last night, but aside from that, nothing exciting on the travels. I'm, as you can expect, happy to be home. A little bit more of a homecoming this time than my last visit.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you haven't been long. I know we've written letters, but how's everything in Ulxa?
Everything's been good. Yeah, of
Okay, good. I hope you're staying safe. You've been staying safe, haven't you?
course, Ma.
Oh, go and roll a
Of course.
deception check for me.
You literally gonna lie straight up to your mom, dude?
You're sick. You're sick,
let's-
dude.
You got a 6?
A six,
And you're
babe.
bad at it, bro? You're bad at lying to your mom and you're still gonna do it?
It's like I want to be caught.
Some part of you, you're like, I can't lie to my mother. And then just says, what have you been doing?
Just military
Pierce
things,
the
Mom.
shadows. What have you been doing?
I do what I'm told to do, Mom.
Why are you like your father?
He is my father, so
Okay. I don't want to know. I do want to know, but I don't want to know.
yeah, I get it. I won't tell you.
Tell me, but don't tell me.
Okay,
Okay, but don't tell me. But I want to know. Okay.
got it.
Well, either way, you made it back safe. How long will you be in town for?
At this point, I'm not really sure. I wasn't sure how long the traveling would take in the first place, and I knew that I was gonna at least be back for coronation, which got 4 days before that. And in my letters, maybe this is a quick side question. Have I told her about my thing?
I'll leave that up to you. Do you think Pierce would have brought up the request to meet with the lanterns?
I feel like I don't keep things from my mom.
Yeah.
Especially with my dad gone.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think I would have told her. I wouldn't have given her just in the letter. It would have been, hey, I'm part of my time at home, not just the coronation, but I'm also been requested to meet with the lanterns while I'm there.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, I mean, you're here early enough. You could probably either go later today or tomorrow. But anything after that, I just know that the whole castle is going to be chaotic. It's already incredibly chaotic. No, I'm excited. How are you feeling about meeting up with them?
I mean, I think initially it was, I don't know if excited, I guess almost humble to even be requested. Not 100% sure what to expect. It's a lot to be home with everything else that's going on already. So I think I'm just looking forward to meeting with them and getting a full idea of what the need is.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, with your father passing away a few years, his spot in the lanterns has been vacant, and so they've had, not necessarily a need for his role filled necessarily, but I know they're not in like full force how they normally are. But and then because and this is something that Pierce would know is that like there are 6 positions within the lanterns, but they've just had the 5 for the last like 2 years ever since your dad had passed away.
Would that be normal for it to be vacant for that long?
Go ahead and roll me a history check.
3.
A 3. You guys all have cursed dice. 100%.
Let's freaking go.
You're not sure. I'll say it was something like that. Like, typically like it's filled, but the lanterns are like this weird position. So lanterns being advisors to like the crown and the royal family. Growing up there, like obviously like you knew your dad held one of those positions for a while, but it's one of those things where like you're unsure, is this common or not? So
Mhm.
but I mean that's exciting. Like you're almost the same age that your father was when he, or you're younger than your father was when he took this position, which is, I mean, it's impressive that that they're even considering having you fill that position. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where my first like response of being a little bit humbled of the request in the first place. Wasn't expecting it, and I think, I mean, as you know, I don't think my time in the military was necessary. I wasn't in a place thinking that it was going to be over.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm torn, but I didn't think that I was going to have some other option
yeah, no, I mean
aside from the military.
Yeah, I mean, I think even making it as a captain is phenomenal. Like, I think there's only been a few. I know your father had made it when he was a grand marshal, and so like the fact that I mean, you guys were even so close in positions, but you're doing it, at this age is I think is wonderful. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to hear, how it goes, but just know that it is a serious position. It's a serious responsibility, which I know you've taken that into account, but just know that I think it's something big. And so in doing that, your life probably is going to be very different.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's just being in one place for a while would be a change.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, at this point, you've been gone for, I mean, you left almost 5 years ago now at this point. And
Mhm.
so, I know you've been gone literally on the other side of the globe, but, I think some stability, I think would probably be good for you.
No, I think you're right, which is why there is some excitement in meeting with the lanterns. Can I ask what time of day is it ish right
At this
now?
point, it's early. It's like
Yeah.
8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have some time, but I don't know if they necessarily knew exactly when I'd be coming in. So I figured I'd stop here first, have the morning with you, and then head in to try and check in with them after lunch, and hopefully I can catch them after they've all returned from their lunches as well.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. And you see that she starts kind of filling you in on kind of what's been happening like along the castle and kind of filling you just like her kind of like day to day that you don't necessarily hear from like in letters. I think the letters are a lot of like the big things that are kind of happening, but not necessarily like the day to day of her just like out and about and hanging out with her friends and doing underwater basket weaving or whatever your mother does. But as that happens, yeah, it's like later in the day, and you know that the letter or the invitation in that letter is also an invitation to get to the upper
Hmm.
part of the castle. So
Should I change? Probably.
yeah, you see, as you ask your mom that, she's like, "You have nicer, you have nicer stuff."
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, I don't know how much clothes you brought. I mean, you could wear one of your father's old coats.
Yeah, let me see what I have, and I'll get ready to head up and check in with them.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll say like in your bag, like knowing you're coming in for the coronation, that Pierce would probably have his like more traditional like formal wear as far as like military wear, and so you do have that in your bag, so that is an
Okay.
option. And so it's up to you for Pierce like how formal he would want to go.
Would just thinking about my own time in the military, is there like multiple levels of formal wear, or is it just kind of like it's like my day-to-day grudge type uniform and then office nice and then formal?
It would just be the two. It would be like
Okay.
day to day wear, and then like very formal attire.
Okay, I would put on my formal attire then.
Very cool. Cool. You do that, and you start to make your way up. And then from there, we're gonna cut over to Val. You find yourself literally being followed by Hicks and then these two guards as you start to make your way through the second level of where the castle is. But you're going to this part that's like this wing that is the way that like a townhouse would be, but if the person owned the top and the bottom floor, and that's basically like the size of your house or your home. And it is like this two-story home within the castle walls. And then as you go, you arrive at the door and you see Hicks kind of like looks at you a little bit and just says, "Miss Kondo, ready to go in?"
No, never.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Opens the door and then kind of like has it open, but like is side stepped a little bit to like let you in.
So everyone inside can already see me.
Hicks knows all your tricks.
I guess I walk in. Most begrudgingly.
You walk in to this beautiful home. As you walk in, there's like these like statues from like different parts of Sollivant, paintings from like different eras, and is from the door you can see at least the bottom of like a staircase that leads upstairs to like your bedroom and your parents' bedrooms. And and you see kind of people, not like a ridiculous amount, but you see like 3 or 4 people starting to like set up for whatever festivities seem to be happening tonight. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
3 or a 12, right?
3 or 12.
I got a 15.
15. Cool. You start, it's like they're not like being very loud. So you kind of have to like, as like movement is happening and people are like talking about like where to put this, or like, oh, move it over here, move it over here. You hear your parents' voice in the dining hall area, which you kind of, it's a little bit further down into the home, but you hear them and you see that Hicks goes, your parents are waiting. I will take your,
Waiting.
no, ma'am. And I will take your bow and we will take all of your stuff upstairs. And closes the door behind you.
I mean, you don't have to take the bow. That could be useful.
Just walks away, walks up the stairs.
We love Hicks so much. Let's walk towards the area that they're in, but just far enough away that I can hear them clearer, but they can't see me.
Ooh, very cool. You're right at the edge of the doorway that leads into, sorry, the archway. It's not a doorway. You are at the edge of the archway that leads into this dining area. Go ahead. Are you trying to like eavesdrop in?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and give me another perception check.
What is that? Dun, dun, dun. 21.
Ooh, 21. Awesome.
Ooh,
Uh,
man.
Hey, someone had to roll above a 20 at this point.
No.
Listen, statistically, someone had to do it.
It rolls a 1, falls in the room. Oh hey!
Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, you hear your parents talking and they're like not whispering, but like it's like a private conversation that's being had. But I think years and years of kind of like eavesdropping or sneaking around your parents has kind of helped with this skill. And with your back against the wall, you start to like listen into your parents' conversations as you hear your father says, and this is like mid conversation, and this is like, oh, Sonia, I'm not going to revisit this conversation. We're meeting up with Gilmore and the business will be conducted and it'll be good for the family. And that's that. Okay. He's already coming here. He's already here. And your mother kind of like pipes up a little bit and just says, I just don't know if this is good for business. I thought business with him was, and then your father kind of like cuts in a little bit. I know you thought business with him was done. I thought business with him was done, but listen, he's very persuasive and honestly, the amount of business that he could bring in is nothing that at least a conversation shouldn't be had. And your mom kind of like sighs. Okay. Valentina should be here soon. And we can prepare and then just have this dinner and we can have this event. And then we can hopefully go about our lives after that.
I think at that point I cut in. I'm like, I heard my name.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As your father's about to speak, he's like, Valentina, welcome, daughter. And then he goes and kind of gives you like this very like unsure how to like approach you, gives you this like awkward side tug. And then your mother comes in and just says like, Valentina, it's so good to have you here. And then goes and gives you a hug. You've been avoiding us. It's good to have you back
I don't
here.
think avoiding would be the correct term.
Last time Hicks went for you, you literally snuck off into the woods. And
Fair.
so I don't think it's totally unreasonable for us to take the measures that we did. But how was the trip back? Everything okay?
Very short, very brief. You wouldn't know though because you didn't meet me up at school.
We have a lot of, and then your dad kind of pipes up a little bit. There's a lot of things happening tonight, and we had to make sure that plans went accordingly, and to make sure that when you came home, things were prepared, and that you could have a place that was somewhat organized. So you're welcome for thinking of all of us and not just you.
You own so much help. There's everyone to organize this. You could have made time.
I mean, we could have left things with Hicks. Your mom kind of like pipes up, and then your father goes, yes, probably, but there was things that we had to attend to as well. So
More important than your only daughter.
there are things that are important, which is you, and there are things that are urgent, which is the events of tonight. So
And the business. It's always the business.
Get him.
Valentina, the Valentina, the business that we have allows you to be at Lenneth.
I didn't ask for that.
Then we can have you come back home.
Hmm. Maybe school isn't too bad.
Okay. So, like I had said, this is good for business and allows you to be at the school. Plus, you're already going into your final year there, and so it would probably be best for you to continue there. It would be a shame. Your mother and I both went there, and we valued what we got there, and we met, and because of that, you exist. And so, just know that the school is very special to us, and for us, it's an honor to have you there. And so, this event is going to be it's a lot of shaking of hands. And so I expect you to come in with positive attitude.
I can have positive attitude and not shake hands.
Okay.
It just seems very superficial.
A lot of unfortunately our business is that, but that also just makes sure that relationships maintained and new bonds can be forged. And so events like today are a good opportunity, especially with coronation happening. We have people in from everywhere, and so we figured an event like this was the best opportunity to get everybody into the room at the same time.
One of those people being Gilmore?
Can you roll me an insight check?
Thank you. A 7.
7. You see, as you say that, your father goes, "Yes, I believe Gilmore is one of them, amongst a handful of other people coming in. We also have Austin from the Lanterns that's going to be here. We have a handful of other people from like Oxa. And so, yes, Gilmore will be here amongst a handful of other people. But I'm assuming that you were listening in to our conversation. And so,
The halls echo. We have such a big house. You should like look into someone fixing that if you want to keep your conversation secret.
how would we fix an echo in a home?
Carpet?
Looks at the beautiful, immaculate floors. No.
A smaller
No.
house?
Also, no, terrible ideas, Valentina. And anyways, listen, the
Magic.
party's okay. That one's actually a little bit reasonable, but go upstairs. We have the party happening, so people should start arriving in the next hour or so, and so we just want you ready. So,
Okay.
and you see your mom kind of pipes in and it's like, and it is good to have you home.
Could have picked me up.
I don't know, and then they kind of just like walk away. But yeah, what does Val want to do?
Let's see what they have laid out for me to wear. So head upstairs and back to my quarters.
Cool. As you go upstairs, you see like on a hanger this red, like a maroon colored like dress. And then as you like look at it, you look past it towards like where your closet and your other clothes would be, and all of your old clothes have fully been replaced with very like formal, very like rigid wear. And so you're like, sick. I don't know where all my
Sick.
stuff is.
Perfect. Let's not wear any of that and find something nicer than what I have on, like my traveling wear, but something that would still upset the parents, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, and then as you start looking, like after a few minutes, like there's like a knock on the door, and then the door opens, and it's one of like kind of like the helpers, almost like a maid that comes in, and then you see she like gets the hanger off the hook and just says, "Miss Kondo." And at this point, like you can also have like started to like put on something else or pick something else, but
I definitely already started to put on something else and be like, it's fine, you don't need to help me get dressed. I'm sure there's something else better you could be doing.
there's really not.
Gracefully like closing the door with her on the way out. Thank you so much. I got it. Don't
I
worry.
truly, I really should. The door
Perfect.
closes. What do you think Val would wear?
Honestly, let's put her in her equestrian stuff to
There
show up to this party.
You go and you put on some like very like formal like equestrian wear, and like, you have like your riding boots, and it's just a lot of like tans and a lot of browns. And as you do that, you are kind of like in your room for a little bit as you start to hear kind of like the chattering of like the people that are setting up for the party kind of like die down a little bit. What's kind of going through Val's mind at this point?
At this point, I bittersweet to be home, wondering. I assume that Val decorated her room with like pictures of like her old friends, so wondering what they're up to, where they're at. Also, why they didn't reach out. They knew I went to school, right? I was one of the first to leave. Also trying to figure out if they bolted my window closed.
As you go, like there's like other like decoration that you had previously that I've also been swept. But on your desk area, there is like a this. It's like a picture basically. It's like this like arcane kind of like image of you, Pierce, Buka, and Weaver from when you guys were pre-teen age, and then they did leave that image kind of behind. But yeah, you haven't heard from any of your friends in almost 5 years.
Next to it, would the like the mushroom mycelium bracelet be like next to it? Like they wouldn't have touched that, right? Or
Do
would
you
I?
feel like you would have left it, or do you feel like you would have taken it?
I think I would have taken it with me, but like placed it next to the picture, like to reminisce the memories as soon as I started unpacking.
Yeah, yeah, you take it, and then like as it's just like it doesn't really fit with like what you're wearing, and then also when you had come in, being in Atlanta, you came from a place that was like a lot of snow, so you had like a long sleeve, you had a coat on, things like that. But as you put on kind of like your riding gear, this mycelium bracelet is a lot more noticeable, and so you kind of like take it off, and then you put it by the picture, and then at this point you start to hear your parents like downstairs like come in, so good to see you, and then you start to see like hear like greetings and welcomes, and then a few minutes later there's like a knock at your door. It's you hear Hick's voice through at the door. It just says, Miss Kondo, it's time.
Perfect. I'll open the door, be like, "What'd you think of the outfit?"
Oh boy, it looks like you're going writing.
Perfect. That's
uh,
exactly the look I was going for. You always know me, Hicks.
let's head downstairs.
After you, Hicks.
I insist.
There's nowhere for me to go.
This is true. Okay. All right, well, your parents are expecting you, so dinner should be ready shortly, and you see he heads downstairs.
I follow as well.
Just a click clack of the riding boots as you go downstairs. And at this point, your parents have you like introducing yourself to like all of these people, and some of them are like importer exporters, some of them like own mines, some of these people own various businesses or very different like trading posts or things like that. And so it's just like this whirlwind as you're like constantly being introduced like for people, and it gets to a point maybe like an hour into the party where your home is like fairly full. There's probably like 20 to 30 people at this event. As you start to smell like food kind of being brought out the kitchen as it's going to start being like prepared, you hear this like deep like knock. Like Hicks goes to the door to open it, and there is this the first thing you see is this like 7 foot tall man dressed in like black clothing made of some kind of like crushed velvet almost, but not the entire thing is made crushed velvet, but there's like parts of it that are like it's like nice wear but functional for this big man. You can tell there's like almost like shoulder pads like on it. And then he comes in and you see Hicks just says, "Oh, please come in." And then he walks in having to kind of duck underneath the doorway a little bit. Behind him is not short, but definitely a lot shorter than this giant Goliath. Another man walks in, almost like curly, like shaggy hair. You see has been like pulled back, wearing like similar color black clothing, kind of like a young man, probably like in his like he's human, probably like in his like mid to late 20s, wearing very nice like black clothing, having like on a chain and rings on. And then you see that he has like a very like ornamental kind of like sword at his side. Like you see like kind of like jewels and stuff. As your father kind of like walks past you and just says, Gilmore, it's a pleasure to have you. Please come in. You're close enough to the door where you just hear him say, "Oh, it's wonderful to be here, Valmaris. Thank you for having me and hosting this event." And then your dad kind of chimes in, and like, of course, your timing is perfect. Dinner is about to be served. Let's go and have dinner, shall we? Your parents, they go into the dining hall, and then people kind of start to follow suit. And there are like not assigned seating, but there are like assigned seats.
Assigned seats.
Yeah, as you see kind of like this level of like almost like an unspoken hierarchy as like certain people sit towards the end of the table versus some people sit closer to your parents. And where your seat is, you see that Gilmore sits down next to you.
Perfect.
I don't think I've had the pleasure, as he sits down and kind of like extends like a ringed hand towards you.
I hesitantly reach out my hand and shake it and be like, Valentina. It's good to finally meet you. I've heard some things about you.
Hopefully, all good. The daughter of your esteemed hosts for the night. Wonderful. I don't think. I mean, I've your parents have spoken about you, but I was under the impression that you weren't in the city.
No, I was up at school. I try not to make my way home too often, only for very special occasions like a coronation.
You see, kind of gives you like a puzzled look, like "S- school,
The academy, where my parents met, Lenneth.
Lenneth. Okay, wonderful. How's that going?
It's going. I finish in about a year. Hopefully, I'll help run the family business after that year is up. It's really preparing me to take on this new role with my parents.
That's wonderful to hear. Well, if that's the case, then that means that one day you and I will be in business. So that would be wonderful. I've been in business with your father for quite a bit now, and so I'm happy to hear that the family tradition is going on still. Is the plan to then move back after you graduate?
Seems like it. And what business exactly do you do with my father?
I mean, for me personally, I'm just a middleman. I've kind of just helped people connect with who they need to. And so for your parents' business, specifically with like, different jewels and mining that your parents are involved with, I typically kind of get them connected with mines, not just in Numir, but just in different parts of Solvent. And so I just kind of help with that. So I'm just a good connector of people. I just get them, you know, it's hard sometimes to build a connection halfway across the globe. So what
There's a lot of room for miscommunication too as the middleman. Interesting.
do you mean?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
No, I think I'm very inclined to do my best only because it is good for business, right? And so I think with what I do, I've had the luxury of getting to meet people like your father or getting to meet people, that are in charge of like trading posts and things like that. But I'm very glad that I got to come in. I just got into town today, and so I'm just excited to see what Alcore has to offer. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
Inside. Not 20.
Nat 20. With a nat 20 insight check, this man is being fully honest. Like he really is here like for business, and he's really like excited to like explore the city and be here. You like go ahead and give me a history check as well to see if you've heard of this man. I know you obviously heard your parents talking about them, but
A 5.
a 5, your parents have a lot of people that they do business with, so Gilmore's like maybe he's been brought up before. But with a nat 20 insight check, this man is fully here to conduct business and literally meet up with your parents about literally just connecting and with various people. So
It seems concerning how stressed father is, though. It's just my issue. Well, here's to good business and to discovering more about this lovely city. And then I raise the glass of whatever's in front of me and start a toast.
yeah, you see that Gilmore grabs his glass and then he kind of looks at everybody and he says, "Everybody, cheers to the Kondo family and cheers to Alcor and cheers to the coronation." And across the table, like as you see your dad make eye contact with him, and then they share like a look.
What the look?
And that's where we're gonna end tonight's session.
I don't like him.
Oh man.